Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was on mute. So, we'll be starting in a couple of minutes. I'm waiting for Faisal to join. So, if anybody has any doubts or any questions related to mobile automation, you can post it in the chat. We can also have normal conversation also in the chat. Keep the chat active. Let's start in just a couple of minutes. Okay, then we are good to start. So, good in it is night over here, so night everybody. I don't want to turn off the interest. So just hello everybody. We will be starting this session. With this session is related to the how you can automate Android application using Appium 2.0 and Java 17. So we have our guest for today, Mr. Faisal Khatri. Add him. Hello, Faisal.
Hello, folks. Hello, everyone.
We are, yeah, we'll be starting with the session for Android automation. And coincidentally, this is the exactly the same topic which I was about to take up in the APM tutorial series. So we'll do this live.
That's glad, and I'm glad to see Vasik for the first request that I raised with you in this morning, and you were happily able to accept it and make such a kind of a live session in a very short span of time. Morning around 12 p.m. we talked in the on the chat that we should be arranging such kind of a session for the community out there, and Vasik readily agreed, and in a very short span of time he was ready to deliver this session. So kudos to Vasik. Thank you so much for arranging this session for the people out there who want to learn more about the APM and how to start the automation for Android application from scratch.
So we have one comment already. Ankit has posted that can we do automation on Mac with Android device? That's what exactly we are doing. We'll be automating on Mac machine with Android.
Yeah, so ideally the basic difference is if it's a Mac or a Windows, that doesn't make any difference out there. It's just the Android
Mhm.
Studio that we need to like connect the AVD with or the real device with the actual APM for making the test automation work.
Yeah, basically the machine setup is the key. How you set up your machine and how perfectly it is set up. So we'll look into all those things, how to set up the things properly.
There's one
So
more comment, Vasik, like the difference between 1.0 and 2.0. If you can just share a small information around that.
yeah, so 1.0, the plenty of things they have changed actually. So 1.0, they were having a command line tool which was installing everything, all the drivers, if even if we don't require those. For example, they install Android driver, iOS driver, Gecko driver, Mac driver. All these things we don't require, right? So those things they were installing it by default. So with APM 2.0, they have done they have decoupled the drivers and plugins everything from the command line tool, and they have installed in the command line tool. You can use the separate command APM driver to install the drivers and plugins APM plugin to install the separate plugins depending on the requirement. So now whatever you want to work on, we'll just cherry pick that and install it. You don't need to worry about the extra space being utilized. Even if you don't require some drivers, it won't install it.
Yeah, and the other difference is around the architecture. So previously there was mobile
Yes.
JSON wire architecture that was used in APM 1.0, but currently as the Selenium 4 started supporting W3C standards, so the same has been like started supporting by APM as well. And previously supported all the architecture like the mobile JSON wire element and so on are now discarded and they are not supported anymore by APM. So it's just W3C standards, W3C protocol that is being supported by APM in APM 2.0 now. Also, there are a few more differences. Like you can also create your own uh, drivers or different commands in APM. That
Yes.
flexibility is also been given
You
in
can,
APM 2.0.
yeah, you can install you can create your own plugins depending on the requirement. Like for example, there are a couple of plugins which I personally like the most. They are like APM device farm and APM dashboard. That they are pretty cool. Actually. These are some things which you can do it externally. Okay, so I think we should start.
Yes, yes, please.
Mm, so just give me a minute. I'll resume. Just arranging the things before I share the screen.
Yes, so Shreyas Jain has also commented something like, yes, Shreyas, you are very much correct about this as well. These changes have been made in APM 2.0 recently, and ideally before, like we used mobile element to for locating the different web mobile elements in the application, but now we use web element. That's a part of Selenium. So Selenium directly has been extended by APM, and we internally use web element only. Also, there's a blog written by me as well as Vasik on the APM 1.0 to 2.0 migration guide as well. You can check out those blogs. I'll be sharing out the links in the comment section in some time. Yeah, Vasik, over to you.
So let's collapse. Okay. So this is the main topic which we'll be working on today. How to slide actually. So this is our agenda for today. We look into the prerequisites of automating Android application on our machine, our Mac machine. We'll do the setup of the prerequisite and install the APM, setting up Android virtual device. Yeah, we'll install APM inspector also, IntelliJ IDE, and the Android mobile application which will be automated today. So that is the WebDriver IO demo application. So let's I just switch to the
So the basic
screen.
thing is we will be providing a kind of a detailed guide as well as a tutorial around how to start with Android mobile automation from scratch. We will be using IntelliJ IDE, creating a Maven project using TestNG as a test runner, and we will be automating using the WebDriver IO demo app, and we will be running the test on the Android virtual device using Android Studio. APM inspector will be used to inspect all the elements on the mobile device. We will be showing you how to do that as well.
Yes. So let me share, come to the actual screen. Now, what the prerequisites are, the first thing we need to install is the Node.js. So we'll use nvm.sh, nvm.sh. So these are this is the normal tool we normally use. So I'll just copy this command. I'll come into the terminal and paste.
So Vasik, any
So this
specific
will.
reason for installing NVM directly, not
So this
Node?
is the Node version manager. So what will happen is if you see the installation like nvm -b, we have the version 0.39.4. If we do nvm space list, so this will list all the LTS versions which are available in the market for Node.js, right? So currently we are using Node-v. It is already the latest one. You can see the latest one here for 18. So this is the latest one. Now with NVM, you can easily install the Node version. Like you can do NVM install. You can give the this name of the version. For example, here LTS 18 is the LTS hydrogen. So you can just simply give NVM into LTS hydrogen, and this will install the latest 18.17.1. So this is great. This makes the node installation very easy, and it is also easy to upgrade. So like for example, if I just execute this command, it will automatically check for the latest version. See here, it is downloading the latest version 18.18.0. It has automatically upgraded my version from 18.17.1 to 18.18.0. That's why I normally prefer NVM for installing. So now, what happens when a new version of Node.js gets installed? The previous versions, all the packages which you have installed globally will not be available. For example, Appium-V. It is currently working because we need to first do nvm alias default. So now it is 18.18.0. Still it is available. Now, next thing we need to do is install Appium. So what we'll do npm
So ideally,
I
the version that you are using for installing the APM is 18.18. And since you
yes.
have
Now
multiple
this is the
versions,
latest version. Yeah,
okay.
you can
And
switch
since you
between
have,
versions.
and do you have multiple node versions installed on your machine?
Yes, yes. I have
So that is,
18.17 and now 18.18. So you can switch in between. Or if I have 16 version also, I can switch 16. I
so
can simply
ideally,
I can
yeah, go
simply
ahead.
give nvm use. So if I have 16, I'll just give 16. If I have 18, I'll just give 18 and
Uh,
enter. Then it will use.
okay. So if I don't have the multiple versions of Node on my machines, then ideally I can directly go ahead and use brew install Node command to install the latest version that is available for Node on
Yes.
my machine, and
But
then
that will
continue
be
with the.
only, yeah, you will have only one version. If suppose you are working on a project which requires to use Node 16 or Node 20, and
Mhm.
normally like 18 is the preferred version nowadays. Right? So you need to switch between versions. So with the Brew install, I think it will be difficult for switching the. That's why
Okay.
like NVM is the suggested suggested.
Okay. Got it. Got your point now. Thanks.
So now next thing we'll do is install Appium. Let's see if we have any latest updates. I had a 2.1.3 version.
So this npm I refers to install. That is a shorthand, right?
Yes, it is a
Okay.
shorthand.
Okay.
npm install -g, or you can even do npm install double hyphen location equal to global. There are plenty of things they have done. They have introduced location variable also, like location equal to global, or you can simply do -g. -g is the traditional way, older ways of doing things, and local is the newer way. Now let's see the version of Appium. Still, it is the same. Okay. Now with Appium, we also we can check all the available drivers with Appium. So we are Appium driver list. So this will list all the drivers which are available. So I have already installed XCUI test, UI automator. These are the different commands which you can use. For example, like Appium plugin list. So this will list all the available plugins, or also the plugins which you have installed separately. Like device farm is installed separately. So once it is installed, it will be listed in this list. Now the next thing we need to install is the APM Doctor. Now, npm. Here it is under the package of @apm slash.
I guess this has been changed since 2.0. Previously, it was
Yes.
directly APM Doctor, APM hyphen Doctor. That was the
Yeah. So
package name.
they were maintaining it different in a different projects altogether. Now they have merged everything into a single mono repo. So they
Okay.
have multiple packages now. So now with APM hyphen Doctor, you can check the version also. B, it is double hyphen. Okay. Double hyphen version. These are the later. Now with this APM Doctor, you can check your machine setup. So I have already done the setup of this machine for APM. I have a separate video on my channel for setting up your machine for APM. You can check that out. Yeah. So check out our setup for Android. So we need to have the Node.js binary. Node version is 18.18.0. We need to set Android home environment variable. We need to set Java home environment. We need to set all these environment variables which are pointing to this folder. So let me quickly show you how you can do that. In this terminal itself, I'll open code, profile files, paths. So I have created a separate files for maintaining the path. So here you can see I have set the node home where it is pointing to. Let's change it to 18.18.0. Now node modules is there. No. Then Java home where the Java 17 JDK is installed. Android home where the SDK is installed, and Android SDK root. It is same as Android home. And these are some extra paths which we need to set for emulator tools, tools bin, platform tools, CMD tool, CMD line tools. All these things we need to set. Here also we need to set the bin folder for Java home. So that's pretty much it, which is required to be done. Now, since I
And
have
I
changed
think,
this path,
sorry, Wasik, to interrupt you. I think
yeah,
for setting the Java path, Android home path, and uh, what is the third thing, Wasik? Java home, Android home,
Android home and
uh,
these other folders,
other folders like
emulator
platform tools and so
ADB.
on.
And
All this stuff can be found. I have a good blog written around what is Android emulator and how to set the different paths for Android home and Android platform tools, ADB, and so on. So you can check out that link. I'll be providing all those
you
links
can
in the comments.
put the link in the chat right now so that
Yeah, yeah. I
everybody
need to
can.
like check out for the blog in some time. I'll provide the links to the blog as well. Also, there's one video that I created previously last 2 3 weeks back around creating a Maven project. In that video, I have shown how to set up the Java home path as well. So you can check out that video as well. Yeah, Wasik, you can continue.
So we have some comments, right? Let's check that.
I'll take
Or
care of those comments, Wasik.
yeah,
You can
sure,
continue, please.
sure. Okay. So now there are two parts in this setup. One is the necessary part. So the APM Doctor is listing all the necessary parts over here. If any of this part is not set properly, it will show the steps of how you can set up those steps. Okay. Now there are some optional dependencies are also available. So now these are some optional dependency. For example, FFmpeg. This is required for video recording of your test. So this is an advanced concept where you can record your tests into a video and it will create a video for you. Similarly, EST launch. This is a separate concept altogether where you know you can do visual regression testing with APM. So these things are not working pretty well. I won't suggest to do this. So this is like it shows the setup. Now, just to for the audience who are not aware like what we need to do next. So we need to also install JDK. So from where you can download the JDK, I'll show you. You can download Eclipse Xamarin. Eclipse Tamarind JDK. This would. So this I would suggest to install the Adoptium Eclipse Tamarind JDK. The reason for this is for the Oracle JDK is a licensed one. You cannot use it for commercial purpose. You can only use for personal. And this Eclipse Tamarind is also free and open source, so it is advisable. And it is the same thing as OpenJDK. You can select your operating system, your archetype, and the package which you want. So normally you should select JDK. That's the one thing you need to make sure that you are doing JDK. And here you will select the 17 LTS. So once it is downloaded, you can simply install that installer, and the JDK will be installed. Once the JDK is installed, you will set the Java home path like we did here. Set the Java home and also modify the path variable in the environment. Next thing after this is to install the Android Studio. You will download Android Studio download. So you will use this link to download the Android Studio. I already have this installed. I'll just open Android Studio. So here you can open the SDK manager. So once it is installed, you can see the path of the SDK, and you can update the or you can create an environment variable, Android home or Android SDK root. Both these environment variables you create. Then it will be fine. Now in this you need to install some packages. So the first package you need to install is the Android SDK build tools, then Android SDK command line tool, Android emulator, and Android SDK platform tool. Now there is one more package which is hidden. Normally this package is also used by Appium. Not sure if they are still using it, but it's better to install it. This one, Android SDK tools obsolete. So we don't have the separate SDK tools. We have build tools, but we don't have the SDK tool. That's one thing we need to do. Once you install all of these things, we are good to go. And you need to update the paths like I showed here: emulator path, tools, platform tools, command line tools. And then we need to create a virtual device. For that, we will go into three dots, click on virtual device manager. You will create a virtual device manager. Create a device by going here. You will select the device definition. You can pick up anyone. I have picked Pixel 7 Pro. Then I will go next. Select the uh, Android version. So here it is. I have selected Android 12. So for M1 chip or M2 chip, you will be using this image, the ARM64X8A. So you need to use this. Intel chip, Intel one will not work for the M1. If you are having a Intel Mac laptop, then you will use Intel image. Okay. So the Intel ones are the X8664. X8664 will work on Intel. ARM64 will work on the M1, M2 chip. So those are the things which you need to make sure you are selecting it properly. Here I'll select this next and give the name of the virtual device, and I can finish the setting. Since I've already created, I'll just use that. Once the emulator is created, you can simply click on this start button, and this emulator will get launched. So after the emulator is launched, we don't need this anymore. We'll just close it. Faisal, let me know if you have any more comments or questions in the chat.
Your voice is getting a low in between. Uh, Can you please check your
Yeah,
mic?
yeah. Let me. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it looks good now. I
Okay.
don't have any
So
questions. You
there
can
is
go ahead.
some. Yeah, there is some background noise, and like kids are shouting.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can't help. We are working
So
from home.
yeah, that's a downside of working at home. We need to manage it. Okay. So now where we were. So we have created an Android emulator now. Now let's create a. Should we start with the project? Let's create
I
a
think
Java
before we
project.
move on to the project,
Yeah.
can we first check the APM inspector thing?
Yeah, yeah. That is. So let's download the latest Appium inspector. Inspector. So we'll download the latest Appium inspector from the GitHub repository. They have released this on August 4th, 24. This is the latest one. So here there are different installers they have provided. DMG is for Mac, EXE is for Windows, and the app image is for Linux. So you need to make sure like for which platform you're downloading the installer. I'm downloading for Mac. I'll click on this DMG. And once it is downloaded,
Uh, Vasik, I can't hear you. Your voice is getting low.
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, it's
What
all clear.
last you were heard from me?
You were talking about the release on APM
Yes.
inspector.
So DMG installer is for Mac machine, app image is for Linux machine, and exe is for Windows machine.
Okay.
These are the few things which you need to make sure you know before you download. So I have downloaded. I just run this thing. So for Mac, just drag and drop in the application. Replace.
Vasik, we have one question. Why do we need to export SDK root, Android SDK root?
Basically, it is required by APM itself. So they have some necessary dependencies which they look for. So if Android Home is not set, then it looks for Android SDK root. You can skip Android SDK root for time for now. Stick with Android Home. I think this should work
So ideally,
because
what I have seen is
earlier they
what I
had
have seen.
dependency for the Android SDK root.
Yeah.
Back
So what I have seen in my experience is if you have Android Home correctly specified in your environment variables or in the settings correctly been set, so
time.
you don't need Android SDK root to be exported there.
Yes.
Android Home works perfectly fine with that.
Yes. Let's start APM inspector. So I'll just right click open. So normally the Mac blocks the new downloaded application first time. So we need to do it second time. Now it will allow us to open. This is the edit
Is there
security
something
layer.
set? So have you done some kind of setting for that second option to
It is
be?
by default. It is by
Okay.
default. Apple has its own security in place.
Okay. In case
So
if that doesn't work on second attempt as well, we can go to privacy and security section in the settings, and then accordingly, like explicitly click that option to allow open the APM inspector.
yes. Now we need the WDR sample app. Let's download that as well. Native demo app. We click on this.
Now, by the time
Uh,
IC downloads that application, I just will give you one more information regarding the simulator app. So, in case of Android applications, we have an APK file generated. That APK file works in simulator as well as on real devices. But in case of iOS, you need to have two different files. So, in case of simulators, you need a .app file. But in case of real devices, you need .ipa file. Your .ipa file won't work on a simulator. Similarly, .app file won't work on your real device. So in case of iOS, you need to have two different builds for simulator and real device. Simulators app file, real device IPA file. But in case of Android, APK file works fine for both M simulators as well as your real device emulators. In case of Android, sorry, and real
Yes.
device, it works fine. Yes.
So I'll download this latest one. Use that. This is the APK file, and they have not provided the IPA for the iOS real device. So there's only one simulator build.
Yes.
So they have already pushed the latest changes, but they have not created a latest build. If you want to create a latest build, you can clone this repository and get it all locally. So let's open the inspector. I've already set the capabilities. Here, I just need to update the path. Downloads APK. So this is hide this. Save. So now, what capabilities I've given? Let's go through it. So just platform name. If you have noticed that all the capabilities are having APM colon as a prefix, but not the platform name. This APM colon prefix is required for W3C protocol, and only the platform name and browser name are excluded from this prefix. So that the platform name and browser name does not require the prefix to be have to be added. So here, when you add the capabilities, you can simply add the normal capability like platform name, platform version, device name. Once you save it, this will automatically add the APM vendor prefix on start. Means once you start the session, the prefix will be added automatically. So you don't need to worry about the prefixes. Now, what the capabilities I've used? APM platform version. So I'm using 12. I think it is 11. It's not 12. Pixel 7 Pro. Automation name is UI Automator 2. Here I'm giving the AVD capability. So that is one thing which many people are not aware that you can use the AVD capability. Many people, what they do, they just give the UDID. It is not required for a single device. So for the AVD, you need to give the actual emulator name. So how can you find the emulator name? In the terminal, you will just enter the command emulator space hyphen list hyphen avds. Once you enter, it will list all the virtual devices which are created on your machine. You can simply copy the name and paste it in the this capability. So this capability, what it will do, it will automatically launch the emulator if it is not started already. Okay, so it will automatically launch the emulator for you. You don't need to worry about opening it explicitly. Another thing is the app where you provide the APK path. The app wait activity is there where you provide the wait activity. If you don't give this activity, in some cases it might give you an error because some application might have a splash screen. Like in this case, the WDO demo app is having the splash screen before it starts the application. So for that, we need to wait for the main activity to launch. So that's why we provide the app wait activity. Now these are the settings, APM settings, which we are setting on starting the session. So this setting name is ignore important views. So what it will do, it will skip all the elements which are not visible on the screen. So it will provide only the locators for the elements which are visible. So that is one thing which you can this setting you can use to speed up your time for the time it takes to find an element. That is one thing you can do. Now, before we start, we need to
Wasik, we
first
have a
start the
question.
session. Yeah,
Wait a minute. Can you go back to the previous screen, APM Inspector? We have a question like platform version is optional capability. Is it an
platform
optional capability?
version, it is optional provided you
I
can check.
don't think it's an optional. It's not
It is
an optional
kind of an
capability.
optional. Let's try it out.
No, I
Let's
don't think
try
it
that
will
out.
work. So how will the platform which platform version should we start the test on, or which platform version
There
should
is
we
only
work on?
one device running, right? So it will automatically, it should identify it.
Okay, let's go ahead then.
Let's try it out. So this is a good platform to try things out. So here I am just giving the command. These things we don't require now.
I
So
think we
we just
require
need
only
to
the
use driver
drivers.
and the port number 4723. Enter.
Address
So
is
this
also
is the
optional, right?
command. Yeah, the address is also optional. By default, it will take 000.
Okay.
So the one problem which I identified is the address which you give when you start the APM server, you need to give the same address in the APM inspector. So here you can see the default is 127.0.0. That's why I'm giving it explicit. Because if
Okay.
the APM will start, it will start on 0.0.0. Then you need to give the same thing, or you need to give localhost.
Hmm.
That's what I found.
And also, can you
Now,
explain about the base path as well? Previously in APN 1.0, it was slash wd slash hub. That was hard coded.
yes, yeah, they were using that hard coded. Means it was not required, but with APM 2.0, they have made it optional. You can give it or you can skip it. You can even give your name as a base path slash
Okay.
Faisal slash Vasi. It will still work. So now I will just remove the platform version and see if it works. Save this and start the session. You can see that it started. If there is any error, it will give it. It start.
Okay.
The device name is mandatory and the platform name is mandatory.
Hmm.
Without these two, it will not work. And app capability is only mandatory if the browser name is not given.
Can you repeat that again, please?
App capability is only mandatory when the browser name is not given.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Browser
So if
name
you
is
have
given only when you are automating a web application on mobile.
okay. So either browser name or app is a mandatory thing that we need to provide.
Yes. And if browser name is not there, then either app package name or app activity name should be given.
Okay.
Who means if you give app package name and app activity name, then also app capability is optional.
Hmm.
So in that case, what it will do, the APM will assume that the application is already installed on your device. So it will try to find that the application using the package name, and it will launch that activity. That's what.
Also, is device name required? If you remove
Device
device
name,
name,
it is mandatory. APM is not using it internally for Android. Actually, you can
okay.
give anything you want. It is not looking at explicitly like the device name should match. But it tries to match with for iOS. For iOS, it will try to match the device name.
Hmm.
So here you can see that only the elements which are visible in the inspector as well. Like this image, the image text is here. This web view button, home button, login button. All these things are visible here.
Okay.
And there is one more thing to know, like how you can know that your emulator is ready to be tested. So there are different ADB devices. So here
Hmm.
normally sometime what happened, this will show is offline.
Hmm.
So that means your test will not work. The test will fail. It will not connect the session only. The session will not start. So in that case, you can reboot your ADB, means your AVD. You can reboot your virtual device. Reboot
Okay.
means restart, close and restart. So now we have all these things. We can identify the locators. So the screen which we will be automating is the login. So here we'll do the sign up and then we'll do the login using
Okay.
APM and APM Java client. And let's create a new project. Here we will select the Maven archetype, and here we can give any name, Appium depth. So by default, the path is already set. I'll set DK17, and then archetype, we need to select the archetype. So we'll select quick start version, anything, advanced setting. So here we'll give the group ID, artifact ID, and version number. It can be anything you want. You can simply add those and click on create. So I'm using here IntelliJ, by the way. Let's quickly show you from where you can download IntelliJ idea download. So you can download the IntelliJ from this link. I'm using the ultimate version. It is a paid version, but I have the open source license for that. That's why I'm using it. And you can use community edition also. This is a free version. You can simply download it and use it. Both are identical. Just in ultimate is having some extra features. So let's create. So by default, all these settings have been created. Let's quickly check the project settings before anything starts. So here I am using Tamarind 17. The language level we need to set 17. Modules 17. Everything is perfect. Like so, JUnit we don't need. We can simply remove this. So let's open the MVN repository. You can search for the dependencies over here. So let's start with the Java client. The Java client is for Appium Java client. Yeah, Appium Java client. Last release was June 3. So here it is 8.5.1 is the latest one. Paste that. And one more dependency we need is the test engine. Quickly download 7.8.0. Paste. So these are the dependencies which we'll be requiring for now. So we'll create the page object in the main folder and the test in the test folder. We'll create a package, right click, new package, page. We'll keep it very simple and we'll use our APM thing. You can delete this app file and you can delete this app test file. You don't require it. We'll create. So here let's create a sign up page. So here we will require private Android driver. Uh, we need to refresh the name and dependencies. So it is downloading the dependencies, configuring the own project. Okay, now it is available. Android driver. We'll need a driver. And we'll inspect the elements here. We'll refresh the page. Here I can select the email field email. Just clicking on that and it will copy the locator. Private by locator email equals to Appium by. So here we will be using Appium by dot accessibility ID. And here you can give email input. Then we'll need password. Click on this.
Can you give a brief description around the locators that you're using?
So I'm just automating the sign up flow. So here there are email, password, and confirm password, and the sign up button.
Hmm.
And then we'll automate the login. So let's first complete this flow. We'll do this flow and assert the success message, which will come in the pop up once you
So
sign up.
okay, so the things that you are copying from APM inspector is ideally the selectors, and
Yes,
then you are using the accessibility ID. So can you give me a brief around, like, since in APM, in Selenium we have 8 different kinds of locator strategies, right? In
yes.
APM do we have the same strategies here as well, or do we have some other strategies here?
So these are the strategies which are supported by Android. So ID, locator strategy, XPath, name,
Mhm.
class name, accessibility ID, and UI auto. So these
Okay.
are the six locator strategies which are supported by APM for Android. For iOS, instead of UI automator, it will be NS predicate string and class chain. So there will be seven. So
Okay.
depending
But
on the automation name which you are using, we are using UI automator 2. So in UI automator 2, we have UI selector. So these five are the common which are available for all the kind of automation name and platform. Okay.
Mhm.
These five are common for throughout. And UI Automator is only specific for UI Automator 2 driver. Espresso driver will have a data matcher and a view matcher. That is a different locator strategy, which is only applicable for Espresso driver. With the
Okay.
XUI test driver, there is two separate locator strategies. One is NS predicate string, and another is the class chain.
Okay.
So once you start a session on that platform, you will see those options.
And one
So
more
here you
quick
can,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So here you can test your locators. So in UI Automator, you don't get a ready-made UI selector locator
Mhm.
strategy directly. So you need to build it manually and then you can test it out whether it is working or not. For example, if I want to build this locator strategy, UI selector locator strategy for this element, what
Mhm.
I can do, I can use this description or text, whatever I want. For example, in UI selector, I'll do new UI selector. It is a Java code snippet which you need to create. Dot text. Here text is password, and then close the bracket, and I just click on search.
So this
This
UI
is the
automator is specific to Android only. That is what you mean to say.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So we have a documentation for that UI selector. So this is the Android website documentation for UI selector. So this
Mhm.
is the class which you need to initiate, and you can use the methods available in this. So all the attributes which you can see in the inspector, you can use those to create a locator strategy. So
Okay.
in short, XPath is not required on mobile. You can create a
XPath is
UI
not
selector. Not required
ex-
because
not
it
required.
will yeah, it will make the test flaky. You can see like the inspector itself discourage using XPath.
Hmm, hmm,
It is
hmm,
not
hmm.
recommended because it can
Okay.
make your test fragile.
But in most of the complex projects, like I have been a part of many of the projects previously, and I've seen there are no appropriate locators available or selectors available for specific feeds, like there's a text, or there's a kind of a some uh, a marquee going on over there, or a kind of a button there, but there's no specific locator, and in the end what we have to do is go ahead and use XPath only. So what would you recommend in such a scenario if there is nothing available apart from XPath? What should we do?
So You can use the index here. Suppose, like for example, this text view. This text view are multiple elements over here, which you can see.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So each element is having a unique index.
Okay.
Getting 5, 6, 8,
Mm-hmm.
9, like that. So at the end, at least you can you can be sure that this text they are not there are no new text being added on the UI, because all these you can see they are in a hierarchy. Like this text view is text zero, then one more text view is coming inside this tab button.
Mm.
Okay, so there is one text. So this is again zero. So it is automatically incrementing basically. What happens? Increment. So
Mm.
now these two text view are in a separate parent. So that's why its index is zero. Now
Mm.
this element is coming, it is automatically three. I think these are automatically assigned to the element. The developers are not assigning it. So it automatically identifies that there are now four objects of text view. One, two,
Mm.
three, and four. So now normally in Android the index starts from zero. So one will be first element will be zero, second element will be one, like that. So this is automatically identifying that this is the third element, and then this is the fourth element, like this.
But still, I'm not sure. Like you're talking about index thing. Which locator strategy should I use to locate these elements
UI
into index?
selector, UI selector.
UI selector. Okay.
So you can go through these
But I
methods. See,
think
there are
there's
methods
way
available.
much there's one more way, easy way. We can ask the developers to add some
Yeah.
accessibility IDs or test IDs there,
Yeah.
because I remember
Yes.
in one of my previous projects, when we were working on a React Native kind of application, and it was a single code generated that generated multiple builds for iOS as well as Android. So
Hmm.
in many of the scenarios there were no proper locator strategies available, and it was a kind of a very complex scenarios, or a complex situation for the test automation engineers to work with on the test automation stuff out there. And then we had to sit down with the ideally used to with the developers, and then asking them to add the accessibility ID upfront, and then we used to take that accessibility ID, add them in the automation test, and as soon as we got that build, we were able to like run the test scripts and then get the automation things sorted out. So I think this is also one of a good option. You can ask the test automation engineers to sit down with the developers and ask them like these are the all respective locators which are not, these are the respective mobile elements that doesn't have proper locator strategies assigned to them or proper accessibility or test IDs assigned to them. We should be providing some kind of accessibility IDs or some easy selectors for them, so that we can go ahead and do the perform the automation stuff easily.
Hmm. Yes, we can do that. So now there's another things are also like I have experienced. Like in some companies, what happens is the client is common, but there are two vendors working for the same client. Now one vendor is looking after QA and another vendor looking after development. So in that case, like both the vendors are kind of competition to each other. So like
Mhm.
developers will not cooperate normally in those scenarios. So in that case, you can use UI selector. Don't go with expert.
So we have a quick question here. Like once UI locator is generated, can we be able to test application in multiple language, or UI locator changes according to application language?
Depending on which attribute you are using for UI selector. If you are using text and you are trying to test in multiple languages, then the UI locator will change.
Based on the specific, like
Yeah,
if you are
based on the
having an
language.
English text out there and you generated one
Yeah.
specific locator using text, then in case of French, it will change to that French language, and you'll have to
Yes.
accommodate those changes out there. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So you need to be very careful when you are using text. It should
Hmm.
be localizable. You need to keep a localization in mind. Okay, so we were adding the locator strategies. There it is. Now confirm email. confirm password. Private by confirm password. Now every time I don't need to write Appium by dot accessibility ID. It is too repetitive, right? So it's better use in static inputs. So you'll do Alt Enter and add static input. That way you don't need to worry about writing APM by every time.
It's just kind of a clean code, and
Yeah.
uh, if you are good using APM by dot accessibility ID, you are you can go ahead and use that as well. But in case of Vasik's things, I think he is a very short and crisp person who loves writing shortcut code, and that is what he is showing right now.
Now there's one more thing which I don't like. I don't like unformatted code. So
Your voice is getting a bit low in between, Vasik.
yeah, now it is better.
Yes.
So normally I like formatted code. So for that, let's enable some formatting. I open the preferences, go in the editor, code style. It is already having code style inspection. I'll use Wi-Fi inspection. And in the tools, I'll do action on save. Reformat code, optimize import, rearrange code, run code. That's it. Like
What will this do?
now, suppose I did any changes, I'll save
Okay. The
code are
prettier
formatted.
prettier format in VS Code kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So now we are this page object is ready now. We just need to create a constructor now. So for constructor, I'll just use sign page. We'll take in Android driver. Need to initiate the driver somewhere else. Mostly it will be in the test. We pass that driver instance over here. We'll assign this dot driver equal to driver. So we are assigning this parameter driver to the instance driver. Now, mostly the page object should have some methods to be accessed from outside. So we create some method like public void sign up, and we'll take in parameter string username. Username will be email ID and string password. We will keep it pass because we don't want to conflict with the field. Now, what we'll do, we'll add one more thing here. Let's add a private web driver wait. Web driver wait, which is not available. So we need to add Selenium dependency also. Web driver wait is required for explicit wait, and that we can get it from Selenium. Selenium Java. We get 4.12.1. The dependency in the pom.xml. Paste it here. Now
Any
let's
specific reason for
quickly.
putting Selenium Java dependency here?
I want to use WebDriver wait, which is not available directly. Now it is available.
Okay.
So this is for explicit wait. Now once I have assigned the driver, I'll initialize wait equal to new WebDriver wait. Pass the driver and
It's the same thing like
give
that we do in Selenium, right?
yes, exactly same.
Okay. Okay.
Values of seconds like 10 seconds. Saved. Here also I can add static input. So now if I want to enter any text in a text box on the Android device, what I'll do, I'll use wait dot until. This method will automatically find the method, find the element for me. Expected conditions dot be enabled. Element to be clickable. Here I can do file locator, email. And then I can do dot send keys. So element to be selected, email by locator. Dot. So you save it in the field. We use where email email element. Okay. Automatically it removes the properties.
Which properties are you searching for?
Actually, what happened is by it removed the version number of the Java. You see in
So
the modules,
can you check it
so it
in
automatically
the?
switched to 7. See, from 17,
Okay.
it automatically switched to 7. Save it. Now it should be fine. Okay, so where it was not working earlier. Email element what? I think by email is boolean element to the expected conditions. Element to be clickable. Yes. So your email dot send keys. We need to use send keys to pass the text. I can do it inline also. I can do this inline send keys. Here also I can simply do static input. Wait dot until element to be clickable password dot send keys password pass. And same for again just copy paste confirm password and then wait until element to be clickable sign up button dot click. This click will also work, but ideally I would suggest a tap gesture. We'll see the tap gesture in some other video. So I'm just keeping it very simple. Now let's try this manually. What happens? Here you can give like abc@gmail.com, then admin and admin. So once I click on sign up, what happens? What is this? It does not say. Okay,
Password characters, special characters.
admin@1234. Admin@1234. Okay, use successfully signed up. So we need to inspect the element. So this is the native Android pop-up. The alert box they have not implemented like normally in Selenium. What we do like driver dot switch to alerts. So this switch to alerts will work in iOS but not in Android. For Android we need to inspect the element. You just refresh the page and this is the message title and the button one. So you can
So we will be verifying all
quickly.
the three items on the message, like the
I
title.
will only message will verify the message and we click
Okay.
on the OK button.
Okay.
We'll just get to
So here I see we have the ID field, ID locator here.
yes.
Can we make use out of that? Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I just use it in the same page. So you can plan one more session to clean up this code and create a reusable classes. So that
using page
you
object.
know, yeah, people will also come to know like how actually a framework gets created.
Yeah.
Framework comes into existence when you try to create a reusable components out of it. You identify some things which are getting repeated everywhere. You create a reusable component. That's how you normally create a framework. Here, this message box, we can create a separate page for message box so that we can use that everywhere. So that we can do in a separate session. We can plan one more session such like this session, and we
Mhm.
can do more stuff like this. Message. We'll use ID. Yeah.
You're directly using ID. ID is also a part of static import,
Yes.
I guess. So it
Yes.
it
No.
is like
Once
APM.
you do a static import of a particular class, and if you try to call any method from the class, it will automatically identify it.
So
That
ID
APM by is a extension of by locator. So
okay.
they are internally extending by. That's
Mhm.
why it is able to cast it to by directly.
So this ID method is a part of the APM by class here.
Yes.
So since you imported the accessibility ID method from the APM by class, when you wrote ID, it automatically imported the static method ID from the APM by
Yes.
class directly.
Yes.
Okay.
So with the native, I think we don't need to put a Android ID. Let's try this out first. So you can, I think, skip this part. It will still sign. No.
No, it won't work, I guess.
So here, see, disable locator autocomplete. Something they have suggested. Let's. Okay. We'll put the whole thing. And that is have it by okay ID.
I think OK button should sound good there.
Yeah. Okay, but
BTN.
let's put the whole
I
thing.
remember having a pair programming session while working on automation frameworks with my folks in my previous company. I was just reminded about this thing because we normally used to spend a lot of time on deciding upon the variable names out there. Someone would suggest a funny name, then we would say like let's go for a tea break, have some coffee, we can come back, and then we would be reminded of some good names and then continue working on the stuff out there.
Mhm.
So it was pretty good thing in performing pair programming with your
Exactly.
colleagues out there, so you get a lot of ideas coming out and going inside, and then you also get to know more of the stuff. If they are good at something, they start writing upon things, and then you can also grasp upon the ideas that they give you, and if you have any more ideas around that, then they can grasp from you as well. It's like
Yes.
a flow of knowledge from one person to another in a very short period of time.
Yes. So here I have saved the message in a text and I'll return this from this sign up method. I just return message text. So this way I can assert this text message later on in the my test. What is the error? Okay. So this is a web element. I need to do get text.
Hmm.
So this is the page object has been created. Uh, Driver we don't require here because everywhere we are using the weight. Here
Hmm.
we can simply remove this and only initialize the weight. And we are using it everywhere.
Do we need that? I don't think we need that Android driver in the parameter as well.
No, no, we need to because we are initializing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're initializing the web driver bit.
Okay. So now we create a test class quickly. Test WDIO demo. So we are using test ng here. So first what will do at the rate before class. And in this before class, we'll initialize the APM Android driver. Right?
Hmm.
Setup class. So here I'll initialize the driver equals to new Android driver, and I need to give the new URL. So here URL I need to give is uh, http colon slash slash localhost colon 4723. We don't need anything else. We'll need uh, tab options equals to new UI automated to options. So
I think
this
this is also
options
a
is
part
a
of the
capability.
APM. This is also a part of the
Yes,
APM 2.0, right?
it is a part of Appium Java. It is Appium
Sorry,
part of Appium Java
A-
client.
APM Java client, and it's the latest version that has been provided with all this stuff.
Yes,
UI automated tool.
yes.
Previously, I don't think
Earlier
we
we
had
used
this
to use desired capabilities.
desired capabilities. Exactly, that was what I was about to mention.
So here I can give driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait duration of seconds, not zero of seconds. Second 5 seconds. So now we will
In
need
UI
to
automator options, we need to provide the capabilities, right?
yes, yes. So we can copy the same capability. We'll just stop the session here and inspect the capabilities what we have used. We'll use that platform name. We don't need to give it because it is automatically set. When you use your automated two option, it will set the platform name and the automation name. So here you can see they have set Android platform name and automation name. So we don't need to set that explicit. Apart from that, we can do everything. So let's first copy the APK file from the download folder and put it in the project. Copy this. So here in the project, you can test resources. Directory, double click the resources and it will be here. I'll just paste it here. I can give like WDI demo app. Okay. So here there is the APK. Here the options got set app. There are different methods they have created which represents different capabilities. I can simply copy path reference and SRC test. So here I can use path dot off system dot get property user dot dir. User dot dir means the current directory, and then this part of dot to string. So this is setting the app capability. Another thing we need to set is the device name. Copy the device name. Options dot set device name. Then
This
the
device name is the same
AVD.
that I think this is the same capabilities that we need to provide using UI automator options, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Now AVD. We'll give the AVD name. Set AVD. These are all. I think we can reuse it. We cannot
Mhm.
we need to do it option every time. Option. We can do it in a continuous way. Then after AVD, we need to set this app wait activity. So again,
Uh, can
let,
you just provide some info around where do we get this app wait activity or the activities, like the app activity, app package name, if there is
mm,
something easily accessible things?
okay. Mm, so let's take an example. If I don't give the app activity name, wait activity, I save this here. And let's clear the console so that we can see the output properly. Now I start the session. Now what happened? It will load the application and it will give an error. Now it will give an error in the inspector. Although it is loaded in the device, but it will still give an error because by default it is waiting for the splash activity or something. They will see the error. You see in the background, it is trying to find the main activity.
Okay, so you mean we can directly copy it from the APM logs, APM
See the
server
error.
logs directly,
So what
right?
error we are getting here? Cannot start this package application. Consider checking the drivers. This so they are this APM is confused between two activities now. Splash activity, then there is a splash activity, another multiple activity name it is able to find. It is confused in that. But when you see the console log, you will see the actual main activity. This is the main activity. Found package this and fully qualified activity name. This is the activity name which is actually loaded now. You can see that this activity was actually loaded, but the APM was not able to identify this. That's why we need to give the app wait activity with this activity name.
So this is the app paid activity actually.
Yes.
The main
Here
activity
we
that
are
I'm
waiting
checking.
for this. Yeah, we are waiting for this main activity to load. So as soon as this
Okay,
activity gets loaded, the APM will come to know that the actual activity has loaded, so we can come out of that.
okay, okay. So ideally, the main activity is just the activity that you want APM to wait for. That is what it refers
Yes,
to.
yes, activity, and here I can simply paste it. And one now if I start, it will launch. So now this setting also we can set the settings. So one way of doing it is by doing driver dot set settings. Setting dot what is the setting? Ignore unimportant views. Ignore unimportant views. Bracket, you can give like true. So this method takes setting and objects. This is this we are setting it by default. Like ignore unimportant views and true. There is also I think set setting. We have not exposed that yet. So for that, if we want to set this by capability, we can do that by capability. What I can do, set capability. I can directly copy paste this capability here, copy here and paste it. So this method is returning void. So you cannot change the methods now. So that's why I put it at the end. I did not put it in between. Now I can remove this.
But
Now,
can you give me an example? Like, why do you, from the APM inspector point of view, I understood that you updated that settings ignore unimportant views because you wanted that app source to be a bit shorter, so you can go ahead and check out the web elements and app source in it. But how does it help when the code is run?
here the finding of the element will be much faster because the XML tree is much smaller in size.
Okay, got your
It
point.
will
Yeah.
be easy for APM to find it quickly.
Okay, okay.
So now we can put one more static import. We can add one more method after class. This will public void here down. Here we'll do driver dot quit.
Vasik, is there a possibility to increase the font size of the code? We have a comment that the
Yes.
code is not visible.
Uh, check quickly. Editor. Editor font. It is 18, 22. Apply. Now let me know if it is fine.
I think it's
Is it
it's
good
fine.
now?
Can you increase a bit more, like around 25? It would be good.
Just a minute.
because there are a lot of
Appearance, enter.
capabilities. And
Now it switch.
yes, it is awesome now.
Okay. So now we are created the before class and after class. Now we will do the test at the test. Here public void test sign up. Okay. So here what we will be doing, we'll create where sign up page equal to new sign up page, and we need to pass the driver. Okay. So in the sign up page, we'll be doing sign up and need to pass the username. So here I'll put admin at the rate gmail.com. Then password will be admin at the rate 1234. And here I need to save the message. So actual message. We'll get it from here. And then what we will do, we'll use assert from testng dot assert equals. First, we need to pass the actual message. So we'll pass actual message and then the expected message. You signed up successfully. Let it fail. Let's see if this passes or not.
Can
So
you just before running the code, can you just show the capabilities section once more, please? Because that was
yes,
previously where
yes.
the characters were very tiny out there.
So here we are setting the part of the application.
So you have put the application in the resources folder, right?
Yes.
And you are
Set
getting
app.
it.
We are using path of method. In that, my first parameter is the get property user dir forwarding the current directory folder. Then
So
in
it
that
will come to
directory, we are
the
going to
root.
src test resources. Yeah.
So
So this
get
is the root
property
directory.
user.dir will actually land to the root directory of your project, and from
Yes.
there src test resources and then the actual file path there for
Yes.
the wdio apk. Okay, so
Yes.
this file will be picked up, and then it will be set in the application app capability in ui automator class. We are setting
Then
the
when I'm
device name.
setting the device name, AVD, app weight
Mhm.
activity, and the Appium setting via the
Okay,
capability.
this apm settings is ideally is an optional thing, like if we don't want we can ignore it as well. Okay,
Yes, you
then
can do it
how?
separately also. Using
Okay,
driver.set setting, you can do it separately. So that you
okay,
can set it whenever you want and turn it off, turn it on, depending on your requirement.
okay. And then how do you start the android driver?
Here I am passing the URL to the instance of the APM server where I'm running the server, and
Mhm.
I'm passing the capabilities here.
So you have a this dot driver out there. What is the initial uh, declaration? How have you declared the driver? It's Android driver. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Then I am doing driver.manage and implicitly wait of
Mhm.
seconds 5. And
And this
then in
all
the
these settings
teardown,
will be set before class, like once your test starts running, before running the
yes,
test at the first instance, as soon as the class is loaded. Okay,
yes.
and then your
In the
test
after
will run.
class, I am quitting the driver, and in the test, I am using the page object, calling the method sign up method which I have created, passing the parameter username and pass, and this method will return a message which I'll save in the variable, and then I'll assert it. So here
Can you
also I
show the
can
sign
do
up method once, please?
yes. Here,
So in this method, we will be locating the email field and passing on the username value in it, then the password field and confirm password field, and we'll be passing on the values in it. And then finally, we'll click on the sign up button. After that, a message text will be uh, picked or will be collected from the message that will be displayed out there. And then After that, we will click on the OK button of that message text itself, and
Yes.
finally return the message text. So
Okay.
ideally, you're
So now
saying.
there is one more thing which you need to note. I am using element to be clickable method for
Mhm.
elements where I am sending the keys or I am clicking on it. But for the message field, I am using visibility of element because here I
Okay,
am not clicking on the message. I am just reading the message. So for
correct.
that's why I am waiting for the visibility of it.
Hmm. We have a quick question. The new URL, what does it serve exactly in
It
the Android
creates a
driver?
URL instance. Basically, it creates the URL
So,
instance.
and ideally, it will attach your session to the APM server that is running in the background.
So this Android driver, it takes in the URL object. It does not
Mhm.
take the string. That's why.
Okay, okay.
So now let's execute the test. I just come out of the
But before running the
presentation.
test, do we need to start the APM server again? I think it's already running in your background.
No, it is already running, so I don't need to do it. Exit
Okay.
presentation. I just exit the test.
Can you show the Android device, virtual device?
Mhm. I think I have to give the
Properties, I guess.
yeah. Can you quickly help me? What is the capability?
I can share it over to you. Wait a minute.
It's better to add the plugin.
Yes, compiler plugin.
Build, and then in this plugins, and then plugin. Artifact ID. Let me find that A1 club. Machine is getting slow. A1 compiler plugin. I just copy it from here. Examples. This is the release
Yes, release
17.
and force Java compiler use. We remove those fork and verbose. We don't need them.
Force Java compiler. Two.
Set it to true. Yes.
Now let's build the project again. I need to say update this also. It is automatically switching. Rebuild project. Java.time.
Can you check
Why
out the
it is?
file where the exact error is?
Source value is 7 is obsolete. From where it is picking up source?
Right click. Can you just go to the project settings again? Option enter.
Just a minute. Target 70. 17 everywhere.
No, no. Go to the modules. In modules, check out the module SDK dependencies. See in this next part, not here. Modules. Yeah.
Tamarin again. 17.
Go to modules and in the third tab dependencies. Here select 17. No, select 17 there instead of project
Yeah,
activity.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, apply. Okay.
Let me try once more. I remember one more thing. Yeah. I need to go here in the project setting, not project, IntelliJ setting. In the build compiler and Java compiler. I need to change this from 1.7.
17.
So this is one thing we should do. Now, if I run again, build, this should work.
Okay, cool.
This is one thing which I forgot. Now, let's see.
Okay. Can you share the AVD screen as well, please?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing that. Here, the test is started. I was checking whether the APM server has picked up the call or not. It has picked up. It will fail because I have not clicked on the sign in login page.
Login button.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
just
not
do
clicked
it.
on the login menu.
Yeah, login menu. So I need to do that. Yeah. And here.
I think it directly opened on the
No, no,
login.
I did the click manually.
Okay, okay. Can you just write up
So
that step as well?
yeah, yeah, I did that. Let's quickly inspect the element. Just need to inspect two elements. One is the login tab and one is the sign up tab.
Yes.
So this is login. Close all this. So it is not visible. Private login tab. Equals to accessibility ID. And then once I tap on that, I need to tap the sign up. Here button sign up container. Private sign up tab.
We
So
need to
now
click on the
first,
login menu as well, right?
yes,
So,
yes.
do we need to create a new page
Is
there
no, no,
for
no.
the
We will do
menus?
it in the same page for the
But ideally,
no.
that is
We
not
have
recommended thing, right?
yeah, yeah. We actually the session is already too long, so I don't want
Yes, yes,
everybody
yes.
to
Yeah.
and then sign up tab. So first it will click on both of this and then it will enter the
Uh,
username and password.
and so, have you clicked on the login button, login menu in the bottom of the app?
Yes, yes, yes. I have done that.
Where is that?
Login tab,
This
login
login
tab
tab
and then
refers to
sign
the.
up tab.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay, okay.
Now it is working fine. Enter tag, and okay. Now mostly SSN should have failed. Still element. Wow.
Android ID message does not exist.
So I think we can remove this. Now let's check without the package name. I have removed the package name from the ID.
Okay.
Mm, I think it is. For some reason, ID is not working.
Wait a minute. I think I have a solution for that. You need to give the full ID that we were giving previously. Android colon ID, everything
But
of
this
that.
ID is not working. So let's quickly what we can do. You can
You can
refer
take the
to
UI selector.
the UI selector. Let's quickly navigate to that UI selector page. Where is the UI selector? For ID, it is kind of for resource ID. It is resource ID. Now, instead of using ID, I'll use UI selector, Android UI auto.
Okay.
And here I can go my new UI selector dot resource ID. And I need to escape the double quotes and then close the bracket. Okay. Same way, I need to do the same thing for this.
No, no, the button is fine. I think the button worked fine. Don't do that
Button
again.
never worked actually. Button never worked. The
Okay.
session quit. That's why.
Okay.
So here also same thing. I need to open the bracket, escape double quotes, escape double quotes, close the bracket. Now let's try this out. Started again. So okay, it worked. Whether it passed or failed.
Is it still waiting for something?
Let's see. By Android EA Automator does not exist in ROM.
I think you are returning the text after clicking on the auto OK button. Can you go to the sign up? Not this one. On the sign up,
Page.
you're clicking on the
I'm
OK button
clicking
and
on
then you
OK
are
button afterward. First, I'm saving the. Oh,
you are
I
not
got it.
clicking, getting the text there.
I got
Right.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
I got
You
it.
need to
That is
you
my
need to get
mistake.
the text first and then click on the OK button.
Yes, yes. That's why I was wondering why it is not working. I need to get text first and then click on it.
Yeah.
That's why it was not working. So we identified the reason why stale element exception. So that is also learning. So normally stale elements
Accidental.
exception occurs when you try to access any attribute of that element after the element has disappeared. I was trying to get the message that get text from the element after the element disappeared. That's why it was
Yes.
showing the stale element.
Can you share that screen? Yeah.
Yeah. See, now the assertion failed. So we can just simply copy the actual and paste it in the experiment. You successfully signed up. Now when I run the test, everything should
So
run fine.
it is a kind of a lazy person does a good job than a smart person. You are making the automation things work for you. Like you've provided the wrong message, it failed. You copied the
Yeah,
actual message from that, and you are putting it in the
it passed.
expected one.
The tests are also very neat and clean. You can see that it is self-explanatory.
But I feel it needs some more
Yeah,
cleanup. Code cleanup is required there.
we
Uh,
can create more I think we already are nearing 2 hours.
yeah.
I think
So I think
Let's
we can cover
plan one
another
more
session,
session.
two more
Yeah, we
sessions.
can.
I think we should cover this kind of session every week once, maybe on Friday evening, or weekends, that we can decide
Let's
later.
ask the audience
What do
any
you feel like?
suggestions from the audience. Put it in the chat.
Uh, what do you think? Like we should cover this kind of sessions every week on Fridays or weekends? What do you prefer? So our next plan is to have a session with the APM using iOS. So we have one session. We have one suggestion regarding weekend.
So there are some
So
questions already. Let's first
we
go through
already
those
answered them.
questions. No,
I
no.
think we already
Like,
answered.
what was the problem? Someone asked, what was the problem?
Okay.
So which problem are you talking? Just elaborate. I missed the chat actually.
So it was related to the message text. That was the test
So
was failing.
the problem was I was saving the web element, message element, and then I was clicking on the OK button, and later on I was doing message element dot get text. The element was not there, and I was doing get text. That's why it was failing.
So ideally, Vasik, I think Friday would be a good day to do these kind of sessions. Anyways, if the people won't be available to watch this kind of session on Fridays, they can anyways see the video in the live section of the YouTube channel, Vasik's YouTube channel, and they can anyways anytime find out the previously recorded videos out there. And Vasik, thank you very much for this wonderful session. I hope we have
Yeah.
more such
So
kind of
before
sessions.
dropping, one more point is someone has highlighted. Like, will I share the GitHub repository? Yes, I'll share the GitHub repository. I'll put it in the GitHub, or let me know if you want to do it on live stream. How to put the repository on GitHub and post it on GitHub? What is your suggestion? Do you want to learn that as well?
I think for this, you please put up the code. We can cover up these kind of things in the later sessions as well. But currently, the code that we demoed needs to be provided to the people, so we need to provide it on
Yeah.
GitHub right away.
So
We can
mostly
cover up.
I'll put it on the GitHub, and I'll post the link in the video comment. I'll pin that comment so you can check the repository. I have
Okay,
created a separate organization on GitHub for my YouTube channel. I'll post everything which is related to my YouTube channel. I'll post it in that organization. That will be much easier for everybody to find it.
so next week, I think on Friday we can connect again on this live session with regards to the same thing, mobile automation, but this time for iOS and APM with Java.
Yeah.
What do you say, Ravasik? Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Yes, yes.
Sure. And in the next session, I think we can bring some more changes. I have some more few points I've noted it down for improvement purpose, and we'll surely cut down the time to 1 hour, probably because
Yeah.
this time we covered around 45 more minutes. So we'll check out to
We
limit
went
it
in
under
more
1 hour.
details about setup, and so that's why.
Yes. Okay. Then I think it's too late here, like 10:46 already. Thank you so much for joining us in this live session, and do provide us your feedback over LinkedIn or YouTube comments itself, or we are available on GitHub as well, and in YouTube channel we are anyways available. You can provide us your feedback on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or even the WhatsApp channel, the continuous testing channel, Discord channel, or Telegram channel. If you want the links, we'll be providing those links in the chat as well.
Yeah.
But please do reach out to us and provide us our feedback. Your feedback is necessary for us to make more improvements and provide you more such kind of learning sessions. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's conclude today's session.
Yeah,
Let's
Vasu.
meet in the
Thank you
next
so
one.
much. Bye.
Thanks for your time. Bye.